This is Kevin Randall. For nearly 30 years, I have been investigating the case of the Roswell UFO. I have interviewed hundreds of people and stood on the crash site. Now in Roswell in the 21st century, I have reviewed dozens of hours of audio and videotaped interviews, examined hundreds of files that relate to the crash, and have returned to Roswell in an attempt to put all that information into the proper perspective. For the first time in Roswell in the 21st century, I have made a dispassionate reevaluation of all that material and provide a new look at what happened. This is a book that clears away all the clutter that has hidden the truth for so long, strips away the various lies that surround the case, exposes the Air Force attempts at cover-up, and found a core of solid information that tells us all where the case stands today. Roswell in the 21st century will be available in just a few weeks. For more information, please visit my website at www.kevinrandall.blogspot.com.
The X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, the X Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, live and around the world on the X Zone Broadcast Network and our family of broadcast affiliates worldwide, as well as TalkStream Live, www.talkstreamlive.com. We're going to be talking to David Guddy this hour. We're going to be talking to David about his book, A Guest in My House. And it's a recent book that's come out from Page Publishing. And we're going to be talking to Dave about his book, about death, about the hereafter, and much more. Joining me now is Dave Guddy. And Dave, welcome to the X Zone.
Thank you very much, Rob.
Dave, tell us a little bit about yourself and what was the inspiration for you to write A Guest in My House?
Oh, I've been seeing things, and it started early, playing with the Ouija board and stuff, and was able to pick up on things, hear things a lot. What really got me going on this book, though, the reason I wrote the book is the house that I lived in a few years ago while I decided to write this book. It was haunted. I had 5 spirits in there. I started off with a digital recorder. I picked up voices and all that. Things were moving in the house. And I find out I got an energy field in the backyard, which basically draws all these spirits. And so I figured I wanted to get their stories. So I figured I started off with the EVPs, and I found out I could hear them and see them. So what that led to was the writing of A Guest in My House. And A Guest in My House literally meaning that, I would go out to the backyard with the energy field and ask them to come in the house. And I told them I was writing a book and that I would like to get their, I want to know what happens on the other side. That's the whole purpose.
How long did it take you to get all the research necessary that you wanted before you started compiling your book?
2 years.
And let me ask you, Dave, what information were you able to acquire from the spirits or from these guests in your house about the other side? Like, what happens when we die?
I can walk you right through it.
Okay.
This was very exciting for me. I'm raised Christian and all that, and we're all Catholic, or we have our own opinions. But the basic one is you're going to go to the light, or you're going to die and you're going to wake up in heaven. Well, I found out different a little bit. When you die, you're going to have an angel you're going to meet up with first. And he's going to say, look, Rob, do you want to stay here on earth? And, you can't interfere with your kids' lives or your family's lives, but you can stay here and watch them. or you can go through that light there, and move on to the other side. And if you stay on this side, you would be called a roaming spirit. Okay, that would be like, some people get upset at other people and they hold these grudges throughout, and they become these spirits that end up haunting and possessing things. But you would have this time to go through to the light or to stay behind and become a roaming spirit. Perfect example of this was I told my mom about this. My mom passed away. Let's see, this is 14. April 17th of 14. She passed away. She died from cancer. But meanwhile, I was in the middle of writing the book, and I would let her read what I had written so far and talk to her about it, because we had found out she was going to die. She was in stage 3 of cancer. I told my mom, I said, listen, when you die, I want there's an angel going to come to you. I want you to come to me after the angel comes for you. Come to me. I want to know that you passed. But when you die, you're going to come to this angel. He's going to let you can stay on earth or you can move on. So she said, okay. I explained, let her read the book and explain things to her the best I could. So it was strange. Then me and my brother had been staying with her at the hospital, probably till like 6 o'clock that day, from like early morning, 10 in the morning or so. She wasn't doing that great. She had lymph node cancer.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, it was bad. She was swelled up. She couldn't even breathe. I mean, she was literally drowning in her own fluids. So I talked to the nurses and things there, and I said, listen, we're going to go home. We're tired. If anything changes, could you please call me and let me know? She said, well, David, a lot of times these, relatives that are in the hospital here, they don't want to die in front of their relatives. They want to wait till you're gone. So something might happen. She goes, I don't give her too much longer. So I went home, and I got with my girlfriend. We were going to go grab something to eat. I was relaxed. It was just a hard day, just at the hospital. All of a sudden, I got a phone call from the hospital. Said, look, you better get here. I don't know how long your mother's going to last. Right now, it just looks terrible. You better get back here. So I called my brother. You want to go? No, I can't. I don't want to remember like that. So I go, okay, I'm going. So I get downstairs. Before I even hop in the car, the hospital called me back and says, and I looked at my clock. It was 8 o'clock. The hospital called me back and says, your mother just passed away.
Oh, gosh.
I'm like, oh, my God. I was in the middle of crying, and
Sure.
I was totally upset. So we had to go to the gas station and get gas. And I had my phone on. This is where it gets very interesting. That angel that my mom had there, we were at the gas station. All of a sudden, my phone started. I have an Apple phone, iPhone.
Yeah.
The phone comes up with all these zeros across the top, or it would show the phone number normally. Well, then it says, I go with you. I go with you. All these texts started coming from nowhere. I go with you. I'm like, what? Here, I started listening a little harder. My mom was there. The angel, she told me what had happened was when I left her, my angel stayed with her. And when she passed on, the angel brought her to me so I could talk to her before she decided to go to heaven or whatever.
Oh, my gosh.
This was so amazing. The bright light, she said, David, there's so many bright lights around me, I can't even begin to tell you. Everything you said was right. She says, it's just so beautiful. It's crazy. The lights are so bright. She goes, how do I get to see your brother? Now, my brother lives, I'm in Ohio here, and he lives in Brunswick, so that would be probably less than an hour away from where I was at.
Right.
And, my sister lives in Montana, Kalispell. So she says, how do I travel? I said, listen, think about where they're at. Just think real hard about where you want to go, and you'll teleport there. You'll get there. So she did that. She went to my sister's house because my sister couldn't make it from Montana to the hospital. My mom was a little upset with her. She took her luggage and kind of threw her luggage around at her house.
Right.
Had a treadmill running that never ran before. It wasn't even plugged in. Cleared off some pictures on top of the refrigerator. And my mom and her were very, very close, you have to understand. So now here's this person that, thought the world of her daughter, but her daughter didn't make it to her, her bedside dying.
All right, listen, we're going to have to take a little bit of a break here. Okay. Please stand by. Exonation, our guest this hour is David M. Guddy, Jr., and he is the author of A Guest in My House. His book is available on Amazon.com and on Barnes & Noble as well. We'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center. We're right here in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away. Welcome back, everyone. David Guddy is our special guest this hour. He's the author of A Guest in My House. Visit him on Facebook at facebook.com/A Guest in My House. All right, David, before we went to the break, we were talking about your mom who had passed, and she was asking you how to get to your brother's house. And can you pick it up from there, please?
Okay, she had passed, and she had already come to me. She was interested in seeing my brother and sister. So how do I get there? One thing I learned about travel with these spirits, they can teleport themselves. What they do, they have to think about where they want to go. It's not a matter of walking. They can't fly, but they can teleport.
Right.
But she can think about where where you want to go, and you're there. So she did that to my sister. She went and visited her and wasn't happy with her. But my brother calls me up shortly and tells me, you know what, this is fascinating. What? Is that Mom just visited me. I'm like, oh my God. Because she had just passed away at 8 o'clock, and she wanted to know how to go and visit. So he has a little daughter, and they were close. My niece is only 6 years old. So, but it was fascinating to have him, because he's kind of a skeptic, and say, hey, Mom visited. I could tell it was her. She was here. So, but it was writing this book. I learned a lot, and I was able to share a lot. And whoever reads this book will learn a lot also. Traveling with the spirits, as I just said, if you're a spirit in your past, they just have to think about where they want to go. I mean, I've had spirits tell me that they wanted to go inside these pyramids in Egypt, and they went inside the pyramids. They thought about it. They were there. And what's nice they said about doing things, some of them decide to stay on Earth and travel. They said there's things they can see that they couldn't see when they were when they were alive, like inside the pyramids and things and on top of Mount Everest they were visiting. Pretty fascinating stories. And the stories came from, I had a kid, probably about as early as like 6 or 7 years old. He died, and he explained how he died. His story's in the book. His name was Sammy, and he had pneumonia. He went in the hospital, and he said he was laying there, and he was looking at his parents. One, he's in the bed. One, while they're there, because the next thing he knew, he was standing behind them, looking at them, looking at his body. He had passed away, and he said, he remembers them sitting there, and he decided to go to his light. But he told me what I would do when I spoke with these spirits. I asked each one of them to give me, and something for my readers, like something to think about, a little message that maybe they can pass on to us, that maybe we might learn from them or something, or give us something to think about. So he was cute. He says, I want to tell everybody to drink their orange juice, because he died of pneumonia. So he figured that was like, he's only 6 or 7 years old. It was pretty crazy. But like I said, the reason for writing this book was I wanted to know and have answers for things that, for myself and for other people, I would imagine. What happens when we die? You take that last breath, you're in heaven or you're in hell. Like I said, you're going to be with an angel, and then they're going to decide where you want to stay here or go or move on. Another story in the book, there was a guy, he neglected his children. He was he was in politics. He was with Democrats, and he neglected his kid. Well, his kid would go off and party.
Sorry about that, gremlins.
That's okay. His kid would go off and party and do things that he shouldn't be doing because the dad thought was lax. Well, what happened was the boy had gotten his girlfriend pregnant, and the situation was bad. But one night, his son got in a car accident, and the father thought that he was dead, and he blamed himself so much that he went home, wrote his son a note, left a note for his son, and hung himself from the
Lord.
Yes, he hung himself in the living room, and then so his spirit, now the father's spirit comes away from this, finding out that that the baby, everybody lived, and but he still blamed himself enough where he went home and hung himself. But and he probably jumped the gun because he didn't. He was expecting the worst, and he blamed himself so much. So he went back and found out all this, and he tells me now that he was, he looks after him. He knows he can't do nothing for him, but he watches his son read that note that he left him every day.
So tell me, when speaking to the spirits about the other side, what do they say about reincarnation?
I have honestly, they say it doesn't exist.
Yeah, so how come there are those who claim to speak to spirits who say yes they do, reincarnation is real, and others say there's not? Who is the public supposed to believe?
I understand your question. I don't know. I know what I was told. I know what I believe. I mean, I don't believe in reincarnation. I don't think that we are recycled. I mean, you recycle plastic, recycle cans, aluminum. I don't think our spirits are recyclable.
But yet you look at Mother Nature, and Mother Nature has been showing us since the dawn of recorded history that things are in a cycle. Plus,
Oh yes, correct.
We're energy. Energy doesn't cease. So what happens? So what happens? Like I can't believe, or I can't understand that if we take the total amount of people who have been on this planet since its inception that are now into spirits, that
these spirits either roam the earth or they go where they want. I mean, energy. I don't see them coming back. And what I've talked to, and they never, reincarnation never came up. They said, I did ask the spirits I spoke to, I said, what about reincarnation? They said, no. When they died, they either had a choice from that angel to move on or stay here.
But what happens if they're of a religious philosophy that angels don't exist, that they're, when you die, you do not go to a heaven, you go somewhere else?
I guess we could also say atheism. It's all according to your belief. I guess when you die, you'll find out, no? Or you'll find out there's a hell, yes. You'll find out there's a heaven, yes. Either way, you're going to find out something when you pass. I mean, there's no questions in your mind once you get that far.
So how do we take anything that is told to us by people who purport to relay messages from the other side? I'm talking about mediums. I'm talking about psychics. So how do we believe if there is no continuity between the messages from one side to the other?
I think you have to go with what you feel and what you want to believe.
So so basically, it's your own personal belief that works.
It basically comes down to that through the centuries, with the Bible, with whatever you believe. You believe this president, what he's going to do. I mean, Trump or Hillary. It's all in what you believe and who you're going to vote for. And take that further as far as the other side. If you believe in Catholicism, Catholic, you're going to say your penance. Are you going to get your forgiveness? Or are you going to pray to God for forgiveness? Are you going to call on Buddha, Allah? Who's your faith? There's so many faiths out there. I don't think there is a bad faith. There's only one faith that I think we should have. It's in Jesus Christ.
But what you're saying is that people should believe in Jesus Christ whether or not they believe in it at all.
I think that's what the Bible teaches us.
Buddhists don't read the Bible.
No, I understand that. But
so how do we know that they are wrong and we are right, or we are wrong and they are right? How do you know?
Once again, what you believe. It's all in what you believe. I mean, I could tell you right now, God's going to, God will be here tomorrow, or preach whatever. I heard of, giving you prophecy. It's whether you believe or not. I think it comes down to beliefs.
But belief is based on a desire to need. Because if a person is self-confident, if a person is able to do positive things in their life, if a person is able to look in the mirror and say, you know what, I'm responsible for the good I do in my life, I'm responsible for the bad I do in my life. Why do you need a God? Why do you need a Savior when you yourself have the ability to make all of these decisions?
You're not going to get yourself to heaven. Good works are not going to get you to heaven.
But how do we know there is a heaven?
How do we know there is? Well, it's faith. Without faith, you're dead.
No. If you have faith in yourself, Well, what's the difference? What's the difference? If you don't have the faith and you die, you don't go anywhere anyway. Because
you will, yes.
Where?
Will. If you don't have faith, you're going somewhere.
Where?
You're going to heaven. You're going to heaven or hell.
Hell, where does it say in the Bible that you go to hell? Hell is only mentioned twice in the Bible, I believe.
No, it's the faith. Whatever. If you believe you're going to go to heaven or you're going to go to hell, I mean,
once again, it's based on your belief rate. It's based on your belief system, what you believe, right?
Yeah, whatever you believe. So I mean, if you believe you're going to end up in a can tomorrow when you die or something, then so be it. I mean, or wherever you're going to be, wherever you believe. I can't change your belief. I think it's to each of their own. No.
All right, stand by. We've got to take our news break at the bottom of the hour. David Guddy is our special guest this hour, X-Zone. He's the author of A Guest in My House, and it's available on Amazon. It's also available at Barnes & Noble. Are you a believer, X-Zone, or are you a skeptic? Is there a heaven? Is there a hell? Send me your email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, and we'll be back after this break with the news with Amanda Curran. My name is Rob McConnell. Don't go away. Welcome back, everyone. David Guddy is our special guest. David is the author of A Guest in My House. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. And if you'd like to find out more about David, he has a Facebook page at facebook.com/A Guest in My House. All right, talk to me about Satan. Talk to me about demons. And, do they really exist, and how do we know they're real?
Well, they exist. For one thing, you can see evidence. These possessions you read about, or if you Google, you can see, and we hear about possessions. And we know for a fact that the Catholic Church does authorize at times exorcisms. So I would say that's good. That's a good amount of.
Yeah, but let's be honest. Let's be honest, David. Just because it's on the internet doesn't mean it's true. And when we look at the Catholic Church, when we look at the Catholic Church with exorcisms, this exorcism rite was written way back when, and it's just kept up.
For instance, we had the exorcism of remember the movie The Exorcist? That was based on a true story. Was it not? We know it was. So it was based on a true story. But there's other things around the world that you can fall back on and see. But as far as what I would do, I go back once again, back in the beginning, when Satan, Lucifer, left heaven, he took a third of the angels with him. That's 500 angels that left with him. Those 500 angels that followed him became to be known as demons. And Lucifer also has created his own demons. Why? Because God, when he was in heaven, taught Lucifer. When I spoke to him, he said that God had taught him how to create. He said God would create the lamb, and I created the lion. God created the rabbit, and I created the snake. He would create everything opposite of God. But he had the knowledge of creation to create. So he would create these other demons. He would have to create demon armies to have the smaller demons, but then he had the 500 to take on jobs, for him while he's on this earth. So,
okay, so I see where you're coming from, but let's look at the other side of the coin. Here you've got a God that is, he's not a nice guy. He creates people to destroy people. He destroyed the city of Sodom and Gomorrah. He destroyed everyone on the earth except Noah and his family. He killed thousands of Egyptians. So maybe Lucifer says, you know what? Maybe this guy isn't such the goody guy that he's putting out to be. And maybe the other angels felt the same way, and they decided to leave.
Yeah, he had a third of them leave with him.
Yeah, so how do we know that Lucifer is the bad guy in all of this? And it's just it's just because of the marketing of the Catholic Church and other religions that this God is so great.
I think it's a two-way street. With you have good and evil.
Yeah.
And as we know that Lucifer has to answer, or Satan, whoever, has to answer to God still. So you could say, why did God create this? If God could control this, why does he put everybody basically through hell? Why do we kill each other? I understand everybody's thinking. I mean, I think like that sometimes too. Like, why is this? We have this God of love, and then you got, Lucifer answers to him, but then, sometimes Lucifer goes off on his own and does a lot of things. That's why you have Michael the Archangel turn around putting out all the fires that Lucifer causes. So,
well, that's what we're told happens anyway, but whether it does happen like that or not is something that we will never know unless, and this I'm going to say it before you say it, unless you believe.
I think, Rob, the whole thing comes down to your belief.
Mm-hmm. Like I've got grandchildren who believe in Santa Claus, and Santa Claus isn't real.
Sure. No, he's not real. No.
Yeah.
But I think that's our society's fault. We encourage that. We should. I think if I had a child, I wouldn't tell him, Santa Claus.
Why not?
I mean, it was a fun thing. I know I was a kid and I believed in it, but like my kids, I think that teaches our kids and everybody to give in and to believe in the false pretenses.
Oh, well, how do we know by teaching our children about the Bible we're not teaching them false pretenses as well?
I have a stronger faith in the Bible than I do Santa Claus, sir.
Well, that's because of your own personal belief. I believe that it's come a point in society where religion is no longer required.
Well, I think you'll be finding out in 20 years the Antichrist will be on the scene. He's alive and well in Israel right now.
How do you know?
Well, I talked to Lucifer.
You talk to Lucifer?
Yes, sir.
Why does Lucifer talk to you?
Because this book, I had arrangements that I would talk to him and find out a few things. So I had a friend that was that knew him. So I asked if I could talk to him. So it was agreed upon.
As a Christian or as a believer in the Bible and Jesus Christ, aren't you kind of breaking ties with your religious beliefs by talking to Lucifer?
Not at all. I was gaining information for this book.
So it's okay to talk. It's okay to talk to Lucifer. It's okay to talk to Lucifer if you want to get some information that will help you write a book.
I had prayed to God about it. I think God allowed it. I didn't go beyond anything,
How come God doesn't talk to you, but Lucifer does?
Because I needed God. God talks to me. I'm a Christian. I hear from God too. But I also needed to hear from Lucifer. I needed to hear another side of it. I wanted for the book. And it makes the book quite interesting, I think. A lot of people say they get to the part with Lucifer, interviewing Lucifer, talking to him, and all of a sudden they stop reading. I mean, if you believe in God, good, evil. I mean, Lucifer, he exists. I mean, he's a businessman in the society. I mean, he owns countless businesses. He's very wealthy. He appears as a man. I mean, he runs the world pretty much, and his demons. So, but in the book,
once again, I'm going to ask you: how do you know that Lucifer isn't the good guy and God is the bad guy?
Because Lucifer is not the good guy.
Well, listen, I've never heard of.
To believe that.
Hey, listen, it wasn't Lucifer who flooded the earth and killed everything except one family. It wasn't Lucifer who killed all the Egyptians. Come on, let's be real about this. Look at the figures. Look at the facts. If you're going to look at one side of the Bible, you have to look at the other side. There's three sides to every story. The right side, his side, her side, and the truth.
God sent his son to die on the cross for us. Lucifer doesn't have a son that's going to die on the cross for us. He's going to create havoc and he's going to kill everybody.
Or is this all a bunch? Or is this just marketing?
This isn't marketing. This is real. I don't care if you believe it or not. I'm telling you, it's out there for you.
Well, you wrote the book. You wrote the book about it, so you're the one who apparently.
I believe it. I'm telling you. I mean, it's up to you if you believe it or not. I mean, to me, I wrote the book. It's out there. Like I said, you can eat or you can starve.
Listen, I eat very well, and not because
so do I.
I don't talk.
You can believe it or you don't have to believe it.
You see, I don't have to talk to the devil in order to find out what's going on in this world.
No, I wanted to get an insight on things. There's a reason for what I did.
What's the reason?
I wanted to know what happened in the beginning of when no one was around between him and God, and he let me know about a few things that happened here on Earth and when the Antichrist is coming. That's truth. I mean, everybody knows the Antichrist is coming, just a matter of when and where.
You say it's truth. How do we know it's the truth? How do we know that this just isn't a fictitious story that you made up in order to sell books?
It's not.
How do we know?
What you want. You don't know.
That's right. And you're
I'll be the first to tell you don't know, but I'm telling you it's truth. I mean, you can believe me or you can't believe me. It doesn't matter. It's what each person out there wants to believe.
So it's like it's like Santa Claus then. You want to believe in Santa Claus? You believe in Santa Claus. You want to believe in the devil? You believe in the devil. It's up to you.
I guess that's it. That's what you say.
Well, no, that's what you're saying.
No, I'm telling you what I'm saying. You're twisting my words.
No, I'm not. I'm keeping them very straight. I'm trying to get a straight answer, and you're the one who
giving you a straight answer. I told you I wrote the book. It's true to the best of my knowledge. It is true. I wrote it word for word for what I heard from the spirits. Those spirit stories are all true.
How do you know the spirits were true spirits and not?
Because I did a Google on one of them, and I found out where she was buried.
You Googled?
I did. She gave me where she was buried. The spirit told me this, okay?
Okay.
And I went back, and I found out that she was buried in the cemetery.
Well, most people are buried in cemeteries.
No. I followed up on her story.
Okay.
So I know she was telling the truth. I mean, you can take it for what it is. I mean, if you want to push it off as fictional, then that's fine.
Okay, so what message do you want to get across to people who read your book? Why would somebody's going to put down their hard-earned money for this book? What is your message as an author? What is the lesson you want to get across?
What I'm trying to do by this book is the same thing I gave my mother. I gave her hope in the afterlife, which she already has. She has hope, but I wanted her to know a little bit what was going on. And I know when she died, I know what I heard, and I know what I seen, and I was there with my mother when she passed. So I know this to be true. What I told her, she came back and said, David, everything you told me was true. The lights, the this, that, the angel was there waiting for me and took me. I mean, you're only going to experience this if you die or if you have a loved one that died, and then you'll find out, I guess, after it's too late, I mean, whether if it's real or not. But, I mean, I guess the story that I would want to put forward from this book, if anybody can learn anything, it's a little bit more about the afterlife. Like I said in the beginning of this conversation, I wanted to know what happened when we passed on. This is not to be a religion book. This is not to be pushing Christianity, Jesus Christ, Islam, Buddha, or whatever. It's not for that. This is a book about the paranormal, and I think we got a little sidetracked here because the interview is supposed to be about the paranormal. Well,
the Bible is a book that's filled with paranormal.
Yeah, but it doesn't say paranormal on it. What I wrote a book about the paranormal and about the spirits that I talked, which I did, and about things that happen: door handles shaking, doors opening and closing without a phenomenon. That's how do they do that?
Okay, but listen, in the information that you sent us,
yes,
and I'm going to read it. Okay,
I don't care.
You should care. It's your book. A Guest in My House. This title is about having a guest or a ghost spirit in your house with you. It may take you some time to figure this out as you hear voices from nowhere or see shadows lurking around with no explanation. Maybe there are spirits that didn't cross over or lost. In this book, many questions will be answered. Questions. What will happen at the moment we die? Is there a light? Are angels and demons real? Is Lucifer real? So you bring the Bible into your book.
That's part of the paranormal, is it not?
Well, that's what I said before. The Bible is the greatest paranormal book that has ever been written.
It kind of goes hand in hand, I guess, right?
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess. But I'm still having a bit of a problem trying to understand why you say that you're a Christian, and Christians aren't supposed to side with the enemy, being Lucifer, if you believe that.
I didn't side with him. I told you.
You communicated with him. You asked his advice, or you asked him for what happened in his own words.
God, and God sent him to me. Nothing happens without God's approval. You have to understand that. Nothing happens without God's approval. I mean, you getting into your car and driving to work is only because God allowed it.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. God, without God, there's nothing. I mean, I think everything has to come off from a higher source.
So we're not supposed to take responsibility for any of our actions. It's all because God wants us to do it.
Of course. I mean, come on. But I'm saying, all in all, how many people pray before they drive? Hey, God, please get us this destination safely.
No one I know.
Oh, really? Well, that's different. I know a lot of people like that.
Well, maybe they need that reassurance from above in order to get through their day.
And you don't need anything, sir?
No, sir.
Oh, that's good for you. Good.
No. Because I accept responsibility for my actions. And I don't blame when things go wrong.
Do you believe in the afterlife? Do you believe in the afterlife? Do you believe in a heaven or hell? Are you atheist? Are you Catholic? But religion don't get you to heaven. So what if you died right now, where would you go?
I have no idea.
That's sad.
No, that's real. You see, I'm saying...
Sad.
No. You see, I live in a world of reality.
So do I.
Then...
I believe in Jesus Christ. I'm sorry you don't.
You believe in Jesus Christ. Prove to me that he ever existed.
Oh, my God. Really? We're going to do this?
Why not?
Okay. Well, there's plenty of evidence. All the history books relate to it. There's plenty of history in the Catholic Church that supports it, the Shroud and everything. There's plenty of...
you mean the Shroud of Turin that has never been authenticated to be the Shroud of Jesus Christ? Okay.
Well, I'm going by what... Sure, but there's still evidence that's there. You have all these people that... you have the Bible. And you have... Okay, here's evidence of Jesus Christ. Lives being changed. An alcoholic... that can go, all of a sudden he accepts Jesus Christ as a Savior. Now he's no longer an alcoholic, and he's not going home beating up his wife. These are things that you can physically see. If a guy professes to be a Christian or accept Christ, he changes his life. If you can see a true life change, you can't tell me that you can't see a change. I mean, there's no evidence of something that changed this guy's life.
Homie, don't play this game. I'm sorry. No. I ask a question, you answer it. You can't answer the question, or you keep on deviating from what I'm trying to get at. You're gone. That's it. Goodbye. Adios. Flush. Goodbye. So long. I'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. My name is Rob McConnell, and this one here is another one that bit the dust. And welcome back, everyone. It's just me alone. Yep. Guest got shot and flushed down the toilet. That's what I do with guests who they come on a radio show, they start talking about a book that they've written, but they can't back anything up. Hey, listen, I'm the first one to applaud people who go out of their way, who follow a dream, to make things happen. I love that. I love that. D.B. Stearns was on before. This guy had it. He understood what it was like to be an author. He did his homework. And then you got somebody like, what's this guy's name? David Guddy. The name of his book, A Guest in My House. I'm trying to go back over my notes here that I take whenever I do an interview and say, well, was I a little bit too hard on him? No, I wasn't. I could have been a lot harder. Did he know what he was talking about? No, he didn't. Do I believe that he had any of these experiences? No, I don't. On a scale of 1 to 10, what would I rate his interview at? Minus 155. I'm looking at the information that came from his publisher, Page Publishing. What happens at the moment we die? Is there light? Are angels and demons real? Is Lucifer real? Can he appear? Of the guests that were in my house, I have collected their stories, all over 70 spirits, explaining exactly how they died and their personal experience, age, name, and year they passed on. I also interviewed demons, angels, and yes, Lucifer, all true stories that I am sure you would love to read. This is a must book that you just can't avoid to pick up. This is a must-read book that you just can't avoid to pick up. I'm sorry. I wouldn't recommend this book to anyone. And I don't think Lucifer would want to do a lousy interview like that either. Hey, listen, I'm a Christian. All right? I believe. But I don't use my religion as a way to make money. He's not giving the book away. Of course not. Follow the money, X-Zone Nation, and that's where you'll find the truth. A lot of people say, hey, Rob, how come you and the X-Zone Radio Show do not sell your archives? How come you give them away? It's very simple. We want people to listen to the show. We want people to make up their own minds. We're not here to force feed anybody. You show me a show that charges for archives, and I will show you a show that is not financially sound or financially secure. If they have to charge for archives, it's just a matter of time before they're no longer there. I'll be back on the other side of this break with Ken Pfeiffer. We're going to be talking about UFOs. You know, those little strange things in the sky, like in the Jetsons. I am Rob McConnell. I'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue from our broadcast center right here in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Whatever you do, don't go away because we're going to be right back.